Now, the Associated Press says that government troops in Syria have opened fire today on pro-democracy protesters in several cities. There are reports that dozens of protesters in the southern city of Daraa and then elsewhere have been killed during the past week. So what is the future for the pro-democracy movements in the Middle East and in Syria specifically? My next guests are from cyberdissidents.org. We have David Keyes. He is a co-founder. And we also have Ahed Al Hendi. He is the organization's Arabic Programs Coordinator, joining us from Washington, D.C. David Keyes, before we get to Ahed, I want to find out from you, what is the situation related to dissidents.org? What kind of traffic are you getting from the Middle East, specifically from Syria, to give you any inside information about what's going on in the country? Because it's difficult to find out details.
Well, we have a network of people in the Middle East who help give us information and analysis about what's going on from the ground, and it gives us a perspective that other people might not have. It's not policy wonks, it's not people in Washington, it's bloggers, it's internet activists who we've seen increasingly have an important role to play in the region, and we focus specifically on pro-democracy internet activists, not theocrats, not people who support terrorism.
So what are you hearing right now from the region? I mean, let's start with Syria, because that is in the headlines today. What are you hearing from the blogger reports in Syria?
Incredible anger at the Assad dictatorship. For the last 11 years, Bashar al-Assad has repressed his people. He has stifled free speech. He's imprisoned democracy activists and bloggers and writers like Habib Saleh, like Karim Arabji. And this is the fruits and the upshot of over a decade of dictatorship. There's incredible anger at the regime. There's incredible anger at the corruption of the regime. The Syrian ambassador to the United States has gone on public record defending the dictator's wife for the kind of shoes she wears and the sartorial elegance, but there is silence in terms of respecting the people's rights and their own future.
Let's go to Ahed Al Hendi. Ahed, number one, can you corroborate what David is saying, and can you give us any insight into what are the specific demands of the protesters?
Well, first, I would like to say today is a very sad day for Syria. Over 100 of people were killed until today. The protest started 5 days ago, 1 week ago, and so far we have more than 100 persons got killed. The situation in Syria is very bad. The violence is taking place from one part only, from the government. The protesters are shunting very clearly. They are saying non-violence, which is in Arabic silmi, and the regime is replying with fire. They firstly called for lifting the emergency status that we have been living under it since 47 years. That means the police can come to any house and arrest any person without any permission from the court. The people are asking for releasing the political prisoners. The people are asking for having a democratic election. But when the regime replied in killing the people, killing the protesters, the people started now to call for the taking down Assad regime. Now we have seen in many cities in Syria, this never happened since 30 years ago. Assad sculptures around Syrian cities are getting down. People are taking Assad pictures and Assad sculptures down. Situation is very bad now.
Ahed, does this include activity in the capital of Damascus?
Yeah, first, today there were like 3 demonstrations in Damascus. The main demonstrations are taking place in Daraa city in the southern part of Syria since 1 week. But today, all cities around Syria, they marched in support with Daraa and in support with freedom in Syria.
David, let me come to you. I mean, Syria, not a major exporter of oil, and oil always a factor when we're talking about unrest in the Middle East. Does this have the possibility of igniting even more unrest in other countries in the region?
I think it does, but I think we need to step back and realize that decades of dictatorship have led to this instability, have led to great resentment on the part of the people. And the Western position, I believe, needs to be to trust states as much as they trust their own people. And a government that has been blocking Facebook, a government that has been arresting democracy activists, cannot be trusted in the international arena as well.
David Keyes, thank you from dissidents.org, and Ahed Al Hendi from dissidents.org.